Well, how do you do, buckaroos? How the heck are you? This is Tommy Beer Whisperer. How are you, man? Hey, so I got one here. I just picked up. I'll show you the bottle here. Saddlebock Brewery. Saddlebock Winter Daze Seasonal, 10%. A robust porter, conditioned with organic whole vanilla beans and bourbon infused oak. It's not aged in bourbon barrels, bourbon infused oak. And from what I found out from the brewery, that they use French oak in it. It's what I was told anyway. This one, let me show that to you. These are numbered and signed. It is signed by the owner and brewmaster, Steve Raybach. This is number 15 of 416. I've got my little Saddlebock. Actually, I was going to say it's a Belgian. Actually, looks more like a snifter in a Belgian glass, but there you go. The aromas are gorgeous on this, actually. A whole lot of chocolate from chocolate malts. There's no chocolate in it, but you certainly get a lot of chocolate. You pick up a lot of vanilla, there's no doubt, from both the vanilla beans and the oak. French oak especially imparts a lot of vanilla flavor and aroma. It's also kind of an earthy aspect to the nose as well. Oh gosh. This is nice. From what I understand, he used it's not aged in bourbon barrels. What they did is they took some French oak, infused it with Maker's Mark, and then used that to age the beer. But it's not in bourbon barrels specifically. But you still can feel the oak. You can still feel the bourbon without a doubt. The bourbon is very apparent, but not overwhelming. And here's the thing for me: if something says bourbon, and whether it's aged in bourbon barrels or bourbon infused, I want to taste it. I mean, I purchased something from another craft brewery a while back, and I don't want to mention the name now because I was rather hard on the beer. But it advertised itself as vanilla bourbon barrel, and you couldn't taste a lot of vanilla. You certainly couldn't taste much bourbon barrel at all. This one comes in 25-ounce bottles, so 750s. Oh, yeah. What's interesting about this is the crisp, dry finish. A lot of beers of this type, although this says porter, I almost said it was an imperial stout, but it's not an imperial stout. It says a robust porter. Although I don't know the IBUs on this, that could, being the robust porter, it could be why I'm feeling it as crisp as I do. But I feel a lot of that oak right there at the finish. It dries up with that oak, which makes it nice. Because what you got here is a lot of lush, sweet malts going on. Plus the addition of vanilla beans, plus the addition of the infused bourbon oak. So without a means to dry that up and clean that up, it could become cloying if that wasn't there. And that's why this beer is just so gorgeous. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, it's damn amazing. I gotta tell you, it really is that good. Oh. I'm getting, again, you're going to get some chocolate notes. I get some vanilla notes. I get the bourbon notes. I certainly feel a lot of bourbon in here. So because of that, you're going to get some caramel or toffee-like notes in there. Almost kind of has like a slight molasses-like feel to it. The body's a little tricky. Yeah, I suppose you got to say it's a heavy-bodied beer, but it doesn't feel real heavy. It doesn't feel syrupy. A lot of beers of this type tend to get a little syrupy and thick. This one does not, but it doesn't feel thin in any way either. I knew he had the bottles numbered, but I didn't look at them when I picked it out. I didn't realize what number I had. This is only bottle 15 of 400, so I know they're almost out of it on keg, but I think they've still got bottles. I know they still got a couple at the brewery, and I may be able to find some at some other stores in the area, so I'm probably going to have to try to find another one. But I really wanted to do a video for this beer using my Saddlebock glass. Let me show you the back side of the glass. They're doing some expanding down there. I was just at the brewery the other day, and what they're trying to do is kind of similar to what Piney River has done here. Instead of being a flight and go, craft brewery or tap room, which a lot of them are these days, that seems to be the trend. They're going the other direction and looking at becoming more of a destination spot. They've added a nice patio. The tap room isn't large, but they have enlarged it since I was there a couple years ago. They've got a dartboard inside. They are putting a volleyball court outside, and they're looking at doing some other things as well. So they're really looking at being a destination spot. He is in the process of putting in a restaurant across the street from the brewery and tap room. And he wants it to be more. I've talked with some of my beer friends about this, and whether kids should be around tap rooms or not. And I've got a couple older beer friends who are around my age, I guess. John the Brew Guru, Red Rooster, and we've talked about this. Excuse me, my nose itches. We've talked about this that brewery tap rooms were the original intent was for them to be family friendly. If you look at German beer gardens and that sort of thing, and that's kind of what he's looking for. He's not looking for. He wants folks to come in and have a beer, obviously, but he's looking at it to be more of a family spot as well, where you can do other things. You can hang out and play volleyball. You can go eat at the restaurant, and there's going to be other things around there. So I think it's an interesting concept. I'm only time will tell how it will do, but for me, I'm not a fan of the flight and go, real pretentious brewery tap rooms. I'm just not a fan of those. I don't usually want to come in and have a flight. I know a lot of folks want to hit as many as they can in a day. I kind of want to hit one, maybe two, because I want to enjoy the ambiance and have a few beers. I don't want to have a quick flight and go, because I don't know if you can really know what the beer has to offer in a 4-ounce sample. I want to sit and relax, and then I like to talk to people. I like to go to breweries and brewery tap rooms in other cities where and I start and talk to strangers. I want to know how they feel about things. I want to, because for me, it's not just about the beer; it's about the experience. Is the place friendly? Do they know their beer? Do they understand their beer? Do they understand their clientele? I just look at all of these aspects, and not just is the beer quality, which is very important, obviously, but I think the other things are just as important as well. How do you treat your clientele? Is your staff trained? Do they understand the product they sell? All of that is very important to me. I've noticed as I've talked for a while and I let this warm up. I actually didn't have this bottle in the fridge, but I had it sit in a cooler overnight, so it's still it wasn't quite fridge cold, but it was probably a little colder than it needed to be. Now as I've let this warm up, the flavors really have come together in a more cohesive way, although it was fine before. But I'm feeling more toffee notes than I was initially. Oh, it's gorgeous. I was feeling a whole lot of chocolate at first, but now I've got just slight chocolate mixed with those bourbon toffee notes. You certainly can feel the vanilla going all the way through that, but it's that oaky end that just dries up near the finish that really makes this beer work. So there you go. hey, I'm trying to beer whisper some fine beer. If you can find it, I mean, Saddlebock, Springdale, Arkansas. There is some fine breweries out that way. So, I mean, if you were happen to be traveling that way, you know, you've got Ozarks Beer Company in Rogers. You've got Core, has several locations. I think they started in Springdale now, and there's also Saddlebock in Springdale. You get on into Fayetteville, which is just a few miles further. And you're going to find some more breweries, so don't be afraid to, you know, spread your wings. The best breweries aren't necessarily in, you know, California or somewhere on the East Coast. There's a whole lot of great breweries here in the Midwest. We got some darn fine stuff here in Missouri, but if you're going farther south into Arkansas, you're going to be surprised what you find there too. So there you go. Hey, I'm trying to beer whisper. We'll talk to you later.